All right, finally on to example 9. I have an equation that I'm solving. They did not specify the region, so I'm going to have to find all of my solutions. Sine of x, sine of 5x. I'm adding them, so I'm going to have to use this identity, sine plus sine. So I'm going to have 2 sine of x plus 5x over 2 and cosine of x minus 5x over 2. One x plus 5x is 6x divided by 2 is 3x. X minus 5x is a negative 4x divided by 2 is a negative 2x. I can divide both sides by 2, so that's gone. And my cosine of negative 2x is the same as my cosine of 2x. So I've got the sine of 3x times the cosine of 2x equals 0. I have a product, so I can now use the zero product property. So the sine of 3x equals 0, or the cosine of 2x equals 0. So where does sine equal 0? It equals 0 at 0 and pi. But this isn't an x, it's a 3x, so I get 0 and pi thirds. And now again, I'm looking for all of my possible solutions. So my period is 2 pi divided by 3, or 2 pi thirds. Okay. And then this one, cosine is 0 at pi halves and 3 pi halves. So 2x is equal to pi halves, or 2x is equal to 3 pi halves. So x is equal to pi fourths, or x is equal to 3 pi fourths. Here my period is pi. So I'm going to have pi fourths plus pi n. And 3 pi fourths plus pi n. And that's my answer. All 4 of those would be what I would write. Example 9b, very last one. For chapter 5. All right, cosine minus cosine. So identity sheet, cosine minus cosine. This is the one I'm going to use. Okay, so I have a negative 2 times the sine of 3x plus 5x over 2. And then times the sine of 3x minus 5x over 2. 3x plus 5x is 8x divided by 2 is 4x. 3x minus 5x is a negative 2x divided by 2 is a negative x. I'm going to divide by a negative 2, and then sine of negative x is equivalent to the negative sine of x. So actually, before I do that, I'm just going to change this to 2 sine of 4x sine of x, and then I'll divide by 2. So again, I can use my zero product property. So sine of 4x equals 0, or sine of x equals 0. So where does the sine equal 0? at 0 and at pi. So I get 0 and pi fourths. My period is pi halves, okay? And then this one, where is the sign 0? It's at 0 and at pi. Now, these are all going to be covered by this. If a person wrote these out and they said, okay, because now my period is 2 pi, so x equals 0 plus 2 pi n. And this one would be pi plus 2 pi n. They're not wrong. They're just repeating what's already over here, because this is going to be at 0, pi halves, pi, 3 pi halves, 2 pi, and so on. So it's going to cover both of those. This one is going to cover all of these, okay?